Hello and welcome to One on One with me, Bright Nanamfo, standing in for Bridget Otu. And we're going to talk about a very, very sensitive, important issue because it has to do with women. Now, we just went by the International Women's Day, where the UN is looking at making the issues of women more important, more practical, and get attention from those who matter. This morning, my guest will tell us exactly what she thinks about how we have treated women and if there are institutional biases against this woman. She is a former Attorney General Minister of Justice, a well-known face. Madam Betty Mould Iddrisu is my guest. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start from here. Are there institutional biases against women?
Institutional, one would say yes. Legal, one would hesitate a bit before you say that. Because we don't write laws saying that men should take more than women. But we have, as part of our constitution, customary law, inherited laws and statutes, and enacted laws and statutes. And all of this, especially the 1992 Constitution, seeks to put equality of men and women at the fore. And so we are generous in saying that we don't have institutionalized legal biases or nuances or discrimination against women. Then the big BUT comes. But then how come women are where we are? Some say we are even further back than we were in 1995 when the UN declared, the decade of the women, and we had the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Some say that we have gone further back. In the US right now, you see that there's a pushback against the rights of a woman over her body in terms of the Roe versus Wade case. The Supreme Court and several of their own courts, the state courts, are pushing back against it, saying that women, we do not have the rights to decide over our own body. So internationally even, we are seeing a pushback. In Ghana and in Africa, I would say that we have made much more progress than I thought possible in my lifetime. And I'm happy to see our daughters, our granddaughters, our younger sisters, our family members, and the youthful women in Ghana growing up free of such biases, largely. Confronted by horrible biases, though, when they step out into the real world. Sometimes even as students, you're faced with sexual harassment. And this doesn't even happen only to women. We've had unfortunate cases of boy children even being subjected to, sexual abuse of the most vile kind. And you start from there, sexual harassment in education, then you go into the workplace, then you go into decision making at all spheres, and you wonder, how on earth can women get right up to the top and not be scarred and damaged? And then you also have the cultural milieu, which stereotypically ensures that right from birth, we are different. Yes, we are different.
So you agree that there is no institution of biases against women? It is not institutionalized.
It's not written down in the law books, but it is practiced. Immediately you enter a room and you purport to be the CEO, and you are wearing a feminine face, and you are wearing a dress and high heels, you are in trouble.
Because we are women.
Because you are a woman. You are not thought to be as capable as a man might be.
We'll come to how it drains the energies of women, but let's start from the beginning. How is a girl child who finds herself in that environment, How is she weighed down by this?
Originally, it was an awful dilemma. You must know, even in your family, that they welcome boy children more than girl children. Except, I must say, amongst the Akans, the matrilineal system of inheritance helped us there as women. Women, girl children were always valued. But in other parts of not only Ghana, in Africa, subjected to what? Okay, both sexes are subjected to, we are subjected to female genital mutilation. The boys are subjected to circumcision.
Right.
And no say in the matter all the way. And then girl children, the expectation is that the mothers, we stay home. The girls, we stay home. We look after the men. I mean, these are normal expectations within our customary setting. And then it just goes on. And you have to then either live within the biases or you try and break free. When you break free, you are thought of as not being quite right. If by some unfortunate circumstance you cannot have children yourself, nowadays science is helping women. But if you can't, then you are labeled. I remember a political rally in the Western region some years ago. We had a very good candidate. I think it was in Takoradi, Sekandi Takoradi, and they had just started the political rallies. She was looking to be selected as one of our candidates. The first rally she went to, and it shattered her ego so much, she pulled out. And this story is told and retold and retold across, not only in politics, in almost every sphere of life. And I think that it's important that we know that these are almost perceptions that you can't even feel or see nowadays, but they are still there.
The process where the girl child is brought up at home and she is made to, like you said, made to take care of the house. She's taught a few things that meant she must stay back to care for the house. Some would argue that it is part of the learning process to build her up into a matured woman, and that it is not simply because of biases.
Yes, but why aren't the boy children also built up into being mature men?
They go to the farm. They're supposed to go to the farm and
they go to the farm after school. When I was Minister of Education, I couldn't believe the problems confronting, the everyday problems at that time, confronting the girl children. We did it according to the most deprived communities in Ghana. The statistics were truly horrifying because the most deprived communities in Ghana are not only in the north. In fact, the most deprived, I think, are in Western region, then Greater Accra, before you look at,
the three northern regions.
Yes, before you look at that time, the three northern regions. And it was just sometimes physical, a girl having her period and doesn't have access to sanitary pads. A mother being torn between buying a school bag, a satchel, or exercise books or pens or sandals for which of the children. The mothers would take the boy child. And it's by these accidents, that the girls get left behind and then their lives fall into another path. So one, took cognizance of that. We tried to help. And that's where this whole thing came in. There was some hula baloo at that time about free sanitary pads. And why were we thinking? But it was out of something like this, how to get them to school. And it's worked to a very large degree, because it wasn't even getting them into school, staying in school.
Right.
It's worked to a large degree because now when you look at the classes, the graduating classes of doctors and lawyers, you have 50% women, parity. And you have some of the women even doing better, collecting, sweeping the prizes, which is amazing. So this is what education can do. It can remove the biases. It can't end discrimination, but it can remove those biases and enable the women.
So it means that at least we have used education to ensure that these biases do not persist.
I won't say they don't persist. It just makes the challenge of girls being educated the more, and the burden on the mothers of ensuring that their girl children are given those same chances even more, because a lot depends on the mother. You have very enlightened fathers these days who don't see the difference and who are radical in their approach that girl children should have the same access as boy children. I was lucky, you know. My late father, he didn't see a difference and ensured that his daughters, he has a professor, I was a lawyer, you know, and he had at that time one of the first ladies who had her master's degree in nutrition, you know, educated abroad. He ensured that we were, but not a lot of fathers in our deprived communities would even see the necessity
to do this. Let's talk about if what we're doing is ensuring that we're seeing the African woman progress towards true equality. Is that the path we're treading? Is that what you see?
The first thing to do is to remove all biases which are written into laws. And I think we did a lot in that regard. Not only my own organization, the African Women Lawyers FIDA, and a lot of other very progressive women CSOs at that time. We did a lot, and we went around Africa. Africa, we think we have problems. There are some with even worse problems. Ethiopia had a horrible custom, you know, where it was traditional for the boys or the males to go and abduct girls for marriages, you know, and that was the end of it. They were married, the girls were married, and that was it. So, you know, changing, so I remember we went there several times, we helped them to write their laws to eliminate, you know, these barriers, but writing the law alone is just a very bare first step. Going in to educate is the way forward, like we did here with the abolishment of the Trokochi system of you know, at the shrines in the Volta. So it's a combination of a lot of factors, but let me say that we've come a long way.
We are not there yet, but we've come a long way.
Oh, we are not there yet, because now we have to help those of our daughters and the other young women who are in the workplace, who are in education, and who know that something is going wrong. It's not enough to say that, oh, all the women are the leaders at the University of Ghana. My own first cousin is Dr. Mrs. Chinri Hesse, Chancellor of the University of Ghana. And yet she would be the first. She's there. There's a woman as the Vice Chancellor, a woman as the Pro-Vice Chancellor. Sophia Akufu is there as the chair of the board. So on the face of it, it looks absolutely marvelous. Yes. And we hope that that face, that feminine face, will enable the true, how do you say, eradication of bias that happens at universities, for example. I'm not talking about Legon in particular. You know about sex for grades. You know the kind of unnatural pressure that can be put on girl children. I taught at the University of Ghana for 10 years, long ago. And I'm aware of some of the things that went on there. So right from that time, you are confronted with how the difference between you and
the
and
male child. But like you just
boys.
referred to, some will say that the women who are at the helm of affairs at Legon now and many other ones that we know suggest that there is a push towards that, and so women should begin to smile.
Oh yes, we are beginning to smile. We want to laugh with you.
Okay. Right. So now, and that means that at least some work is being done.
Oh,
some
sure.
progress is being made.
Yes.
And we are getting to where we want to go. You mentioned some laws that have been written that draws back women's progress. How do we change these? Who has to take the lead?
Well, it's society, and society has to be ready to take that lead. And I thought we were ready. When I was Attorney General, it was one of the greatest privileges of my time as the Minister for Justice to be able to lay bills which sought to advance the true equalization of women in some very important parts of our culture, including an enhancement of the intestate succession law, which is PNDC Law 111.
Right.
Enacted in 1985. Now, how many years ago are we talking about? And some of us helped, myself and some very distinguished women lawyers, did so much work in not only advocacy, but going around the country, educating, doing courses for the courts, simplifying handbooks, translating things into local languages, helping the women go to court to access their rights to a share of their deceased spouse's property for them and the children. You know that some systems of our inheritance, intestate succession inheritance, impacts negatively on a woman being able to inherit her deceased spouse. So PNDC Law 111 was what? It was revolutionary. It was passed
we had not
by
seen
a
anything like that
revolutionary
before.
government. So it was time in 2010. And this happened even before, let me emphasize it, happened before I became Attorney General. There was work done on it to ensure that the woman, it's not, let me say, it's gender neutral. That's been the way we write law, so that the spouse, widow or widower, would be enabled to have a greater share and right and access to the property of the husband. There's still immense problems. Can you believe that? Immense problems in implementing PNDC Law 111. It was my greatest honor to lay that bill before Parliament in 2010. To the best of my knowledge, that bill has not been passed. 2010.
12 years on.
12 years. We laid it together with the Spousal Rights Bill. That is under Article 22 of the 1992 Constitution. It states clearly that Parliament shall pass legislation to give spouses an equitable rights in the property upon dissolution of marriage. So it's gender neutral again, you know, and we put forward legislative provisions to enact and implement that Article 22. Up to now, nothing has been done.
What could have been the reason?
There
Lack
was
of interest?
Oh no, there was a lot of interest.
So
in
why
it.
is it so? There
There were
12 years on.
vociferous disagreements in Parliament. This was not political, I can assure you. It was not political. It was to do with, it was amongst the parliamentarians themselves. We at the African Women Lawyers, FIDA, and other CSOs, we had got funding, went around the country with the MPs themselves. We went into fora in all the regions at that time and explained and got views. We went into hearings with the select committees, got views, and we managed to reach some form of consensus, I think, on one or two aspects of the bill, which there was a lot of disagreement, you know. And even that hasn't been able to provoke the legislature to pass the bill. However, we've petitioned the current Speaker of Parliament, and he did send us an affirmative letter in that he has placed it on the agenda of Parliament for this year. So we are waiting
the hope is to see some work.
Yes.
12 years on, do you think that it should be passed in the state it was 12 years ago?
Right now, whatever state Parliament would agree to, they should pass it. It's better than nothing at all. But I would say, let me just say one thing here, and I must commend our courts in this respect. They have done more than the legislature in ensuring that the rights of women have actually gone, you know, been ensured, or ensuring that the rights of women have advanced and have translated and have been implemented in some cases. So we have some trailblazing cases in which widows and then women, divorced women or women subject to, have been given a lot of rights, and we are grateful to their lordships for that, because that sets the pace, that sets the path for us.
Let me take you back to the amendment that we just spoke about, and the efforts that were made to take it through the legislature, and the fact that you said there was a lot of excitement about it among the members of Parliament. Now, if there was, why is it still there now? And again, which is it the males or the females who showed that excitement towards the bill?
I think both sides did, but the fundamental questions which were raised by different groups of MPs. I don't want to lump them together here, you know, and they were raised by different groups of MPs. Some question why, if you are not married to somebody, why should that person be able to inherit some part of your property? And we said, well, there's research which shows that men will engage with the woman, live with the woman as a partner,
right,
and then move on, dump her, and maybe she doesn't get any benefits from what she has toiled for. So one has to look at that, and I think we were working out something around that. It's new legalese, you know, concubines, partners, and so on. And for me, it was gender neutral.
Right.
There are lots of very rich women in Ghana, you know, and they too, their spouses could also benefit from or partners could also benefit from this. So I leave to your imagination the different groups in Parliament who would be agitating against this. You know, it was sad in a way that it was so much against one gender. But some years later, let's hope that we have a younger generation of parliamentarians and people who have been exposed to some of these issues and would therefore assist us to really implement it this time. So we are looking forward to the good outcome.
Looking forward to implementing that. The issue of women development and the biases that we're all working hard at removing, how has it slowed down the development of women to get to the top, particularly the women, working women? How has it deeply affected them, slowed them down to the extent that rising to the top has become a Herculean task?
It's become a Herculean task if you want, or if you have, because it necessarily puts a dent into your familial obligations. During my time, I always said that any child one had, it takes you back in terms of your career, 2 or 3 years, you go back, because you have to spend time with the baby, and then during school and this and that and the other. So if you have 3 children, make it 10 years back. Others, the men will be rising. Why do I say that? They can go abroad. They can go and do courses. They can go and do programs. They can attend, conferences and other things out of the country. They're available instantaneously. Whereas you, the woman, you can go, but you really have to put, measures into place. And more importantly, you have to have a wonderfully understanding husband. In these days, the husbands understand. So it's easier for women to actually make it somewhat, to the top. But we are still constrained.
The working woman is still constrained.
Oh, how do you breastfeed? In the public sector, you get 2 or 3 months off work, and then you are enabled to go an hour or 2 earlier from work to go and breastfeed. But can you bring your baby to office? How many creches do you have? How do you, that type of thing? How does one manage in the office with the baby? How do you get on? It's difficult picking up children, and then you hear horrific stories about maids and nannies taking care of children, and then just having that concentration to do the job and excel in your job so that you can be promoted. Of course, there are women out there now, and we have women ministers, we have women deputy ministers, we have women parliamentarians, but they are still not in the numbers that we want them to be in. They are still not there. We still do not have enough CEOs. We still do not have enough women MPs. I think there are 20 women MPs, and we are below average in Africa for that.
It's not a matter of women thinking that they're okay staying where they are. I mean, if you talk about the MPs, for instance, most of them will, like you said, will shy away from contesting for seats.
Yes, but it's incumbent upon us, the political parties, to give them an equal playing ground. And that is a problem in all the political parties, not only mine. They don't do it. They don't do it, period. And one can understand in a way, it's now you hear in some constituencies that, and it's so great to see that. And it's great. It happens. It happens rarely. But the contest that the woman has to go through, have you ever read any of the articles, books written about women in politics? I need to write mine. And I haven't really stood for as a parliamentary candidate.
Right.
I've supported many, and I know what they go through. And it's incredible. And
the political parties are not ready to support.
No. They say they are.
But you have been at the top of your party.
Yes, and I have. They know my views.
You should have helped to push them.
They know my views. I've been very vociferous. The most you can get them to do is to have the filing fee. Half the filing fee for the men. So it works a little. But, the kind of money you need to campaign in a realistic environment, it's incredible.
What then do we do, the political parties, if we want to have women, many of them, pushing the development agenda for both the political party and the country? What then do we do? You said you raised your voice, and yet no one seemed to listen to you.
There is the affirmative action bill as well. I am not very involved in that. And I'm even glad that I wasn't very involved in that. I'm telling you the truth. Because right from the beginning, I knew the fight that we were going to face. And I believe this affirmative action bill has also been decades in the making. It still has not been passed. And it's so depressing that one has to go through this. When in some countries, they have the quotas for women. I'm not saying that I believe in those quotas.
The quota system?
Implicitly.
We shouldn't have it?
No, I'm not saying that. I don't know quite what will work, because where those quota systems are implemented, those countries came out of civil strife, the civil wars, Namibia,
right,
Uganda, and, such other countries. They had been fighting civil wars, and the women were fighting alongside with the men. It hurts me today when they talk about Ukraine, and they say that the men are the ones fighting, and the women are just, I mean, because it's not true. In Africa, the women were fighting alongside with the men. I remember Zimbabwe, Rhodesia, they fought for independence. We remember South Africa. And it was born out of that recognition by the men that, wow, these women not only helped us, they actually fought side by side with us. That is why they gave them the quota system. Whereas 1/3 or 25% must be women, must be reserved for women. And it's been fantastic. It's, it has worked.
It won't work here?
I don't know. I've always dragged my feet about it, because one doesn't want to say or think that, you are just given it. You don't want to say that. I don't want that said about us. So I don't know. It's a way of equalizing the gap, jumping that inequality. So that is one way in which it can work. And I pray for the bill to be passed one day. I just didn't put my whole heart and being into it, because I knew.
So that you don't get disappointed.
Disappointed again.
You had the benefit, like you mentioned, daddy pushing you up, and many to have the same opportunity. But the African woman who is down there and has no support to hold on to, how is she supposed to get to the top?
We have support. The African woman is not in a vacuum. We are within a family environment, and the families are getting more education. The families are becoming more nuclear as well. And they realize, I think, with the education, they realize that, they have to help the women. Women have always been the foundation, the rock, and the driving force behind our economy. When they talk about, post-colonial, some of us were there. We were Gold Coasters, we were there. And you saw what the African woman did and where we have come to. The Mokola woman has always had the dream of sending her daughters to the Achimotas, to the Wesley girls, and they actualized it, So I think that now it's a far better system, because when the boys go to school as well, they realize that the girls are treated equally in school. And that enables. We have enabled a lot of things. Governments have recognized it. Governments have enabled it. District assemblies are enabling. We are putting a positive spin on female entrepreneurs, female, access to education, female staying in education, and female scholarships, female this, female that. We are doing it. And you see a lot of companies now promoting women to the top. What had never and what could never happen have happened before. You see young, exciting young women. I just wonder if these young women realize how long it has taken us to fight for them to get where they are. Do they think it's normal? And I pray that they are conscious of enabling the next generation also to come up, and also be at the top with them. There's a statement I must say, I cringe anytime it's made that women, we are our own worst enemies.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that and see if indeed you are your own enemies. But we'll take a quick break here. Thanks so much for staying there with us. One-on-One is back right after this. Staying there, this is One-on-One. My guest is a former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Madam Betty Mould Iddrisu. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
So the picture looks good from where you're sitting. We have more women now beginning to realize the need to take up leadership positions. Are they getting the support that they need from all levels of society?
I don't know whether a woman can get all the support she would ever need because of the systemic biases that confront us in every aspect. Just your very being of being a woman puts you into a different category.
A negative
in that it can be positive because they say, wow, this gorgeous looking woman, she cannot be the CEO. She cannot take that. They say, oh, wow, this minister, how can she be the one trusted to do this? There must be something wrong. And that is when they start, all the biases, and that is what is upsetting. Oh, she must be somebody's wife. That's why she's there, or somebody's sister, or she must have, slept her way to the top or known this person. Things they would never even dare to dream about a man, to think about a man, and yet they think that about a woman. And that is the saddest part. So you start off from a point of negativity, and I think that all women would agree with that, even those who have crashed through the invisible glass ceiling would appreciate that this is where they have to start off with, and then you take it from there. It's I think we've gone further, and yet we can come back, and if we don't take care to keep reminding ourselves, keep reflecting on where we are, and keep on trying to do what we are doing now, i.e. push for even more positive pieces of legislation, push for the rollback of certain customary practices. Let me take one, widowhood rights.
Right.
Originally, it was supposed to be both men and women who undergo widowhood rights. How many times do you hear of a man undergoing widowhood rights? And yet the women have to go through some really weird customs in some of our communities, which men never have to go through. Why? And this connotes things, this brings about this connotation of she must have killed the husband, that's why the husband died young, and what, and she must be a witch. Always end up with the witch part of it. And that's why in our release we said that we support a proposed piece of legislation from Honorable Susu to the effect that they should make calling someone a witch unlawful. Do they call men wizards? In ordinary parlance. You don't. You don't. You don't call a man a wizard. This one, you call women witches, and then that brings up this whole thing about witches camps, and we're still talking about it. We shouldn't be. And that piece of legislation is not unique. I saw it, I think It's in Southern Africa. They have it. I'm not sure there's Uganda. It's not Uganda. I think Zambia or somewhere. They have a piece of legislation like that. So it's nothing unique, and I think that it's something that we should be looking at, because we are pushing women back, depriving elderly women. Recently, there was a case. If you remember, a woman was beaten to death in a witches' camp. There are cases of assault, domestic violence, daily. The police will tell you, oh, that some men too are beaten by their wives. Yes, but at least 3/4 of the victims are women. We have a fantastic domestic violence bill on paper. The police service are trying to operationalize it, but there are some simple things that have just not inured to the benefit of women. A woman goes to the hospital with a bruised face. The doctors don't know that the law says you are to report, you the doctor, voluntarily. The law makes it an imperative for you to report the assault on the woman
before
to the police. You know, you don't have to ask the woman's permission. There was a case recently, I don't want to mention it. We fought for justice and we couldn't get it. The woman died. Children traumatized, and children will say, it is mommy's fault because daddy is still alive and has to look after them. You know what it's like? And you know the kind of violence that erupted during lockdown, for example, during this whole COVID things, because women are then locked up with the worst abusers in their lives, their partners. You can't do anything about it. You're locked up. It's like when you're working, you know, and you have an abuser in the workplace. What do? I've seen thousands of cases. It's so sad, you know, where the women need the job, they cannot say anything against the abuser, and they have to stay in the job, go to work every day without telling their husbands, their brothers, or anybody about the kind of life they have to endure. So it's a very, talk to any sister of yours and she will tell you that, oh, this is what we go through. For us, it's normal in our lives, you know?
We have seen the progress that we have made, right from the basic, the start of education through to the middle level to the top. Does it give you the hope that we are indeed correcting the wrongs of the past?
I believe so.
And how much hope does it give you?
I have hope because I have a daughter. I have daughters, and you know, I have nieces. I have grandchildren. So they don't see what I'm seeing because they've never experienced it, and that is the hope I have, that it continues this way, you know, and that may they never suffer what we have suffered, and may they never have to go through such a fight. It's not necessary, you know. It's not necessary. They keep telling me that there's a video clip of me likening me to Yas Antoa. You know, and I don't think of myself as being a Yas Antoa. I just think it's because I come from a culture of strong women who speak up. And because my father enabled, and my husband also enables women and girls to speak up about what is troubling them, this is what we need to do. There need to be more who speak up. And I see it now. Delighted to be part of this. I think we've done a lot. A little more needs to be done. I think it will take several more generations for the biases to completely go away in Africa and in Asia. I think you know the stories which are out there. You see it. The Kayayi, the Porters, You see the kind of lives that they are subjected to because they are women. You also see the kind of negativity even educated women who are at the top, think about it, are also subjected to. Think she knows too much when she's being courageous. Oh, look at her, hey, arrogant. And say, that type of thing. It's difficult. You can't quite get it right if you come in from this type of cultural milieu. And so I think it will take generations and more pieces of forward-looking legislation in order for us to see our way clearly.
Ghana 65, you have been an Attorney General and Minister of Justice before. How would you say that the judicial service has helped the country get to where it is at the moment?
I wouldn't say the judicial service. I will talk here about the judiciary.
Judiciary, right.
And say that one thing I must say about the Ghana judiciary is that we have quite a few women judges. And over the last 20 to 30 years, we have seen more. We've had our women chief justices, and it has been an incredible experience working with them. I was with them, and also having them at the top. I was also the first female Attorney General, and there have been others, after me. And I think it has changed the perception in the way people think about the law. And I think that the judiciary, because of the education that the judiciary get, and because they are sensitized, they have continuing judicial education, they are able to empathize more with the rights and embolden and progress the rights of women. I tell you that some of the judges have done incredible things for women. Some have also not done so well. There are known cases in which the rights have been rolled back, but they get to be rectified when we go on appeal. So it's a mix, but I must commend the judiciary. The mix is more to the positivity of advancing women's rights than rolling back the rights of women. And it's a delight to see. Some of the women lawyers are very humbled, very enthusiastic about this.
A member of parliament recently spoke about issues about judiciary and said he thinks that some political interference in the judiciary. Is this possible? Political interference in the judiciary?
100% possible.
It is possible.
Of course it is possible. Why is anybody hiding their heads in the sand to say otherwise? We're all adults. We know what happens. We know what happens. And I won't say they know themselves. Maybe the systems we have and the systems enable it. Maybe the Constitution also enables it. And we have to take cognizance of that. There are calls for constitutional reform. I was privileged also when I was Attorney General to lead and to inaugurate and to put into place the Constitutional Review Commission, which was chaired by Professor Albert Fiajo, and the Executive Secretary was now Professor Raymond Atuguba. They went the length of the country, getting views, collating views. We spent a lot of money. And people backed us on this CRC. And they came out with a fantastic document. Nobody has been able to implement it up to now. I spoke to Professor Fiajo recently. He was my lecturer as well, and a mate of Professor Mills, the late Professor Mills. And he said, Betty, the work we did, no one should take out one piece and just say that the people of Ghana knew, this is what the people of Ghana wanted. We went and we spoke to them in all the regions, from the north to the south, east to west. This is what the people of Ghana wanted. And we haven't been able to do it. Then we blame judges for being political. Yes, that may be, but the system also enables it. You know, when the executive powers are concentrated all in the hands of one person, the presidency, when the vice president doesn't have, you know, that kind of maybe executive authority that he should have, you know, there are issues to be looked at. And luckily I'm just a poor lawyer now, so I can add my voice to call in upon people to, and I know that the young people are agitating for a fix-it of the Constitution, a review of the Constitution. It's there, it's done.
It's been done. The work has been done. It's just a matter of implementing what was done. Your party is getting ready. We're getting ready to wrap up the interview. It's getting ready to go into another battle, 2024. What part are you playing?
Well, I chair the NDC Legal Committee. I'm also a national executive member. And I love my party, and I want to see us in power in 2024. So you can imagine the part I'm playing. I come from the Ashanti region, 47 constituencies. I also come from Greater Accra, and I am married to the north. So my constituency is Ghana.
Yeah, mixed.
I'm mixed, and I'm proud of it. And I believe it's my destiny to empower the women and the girl children of Ghana and show them that this is the party that has always been in the forefront in advocating for change and for being there for women and children.
You should be a fine running mate.
Oh, please, don't let's rehash those old...
You've seen it all before, a former Attorney General of Justice.
Yes.
Should be a fine running mate.
Oh, we had a fine running mate who was
2020.
Yes, a female professor, a very nice lady. Let's see what 2024 will bring as well. There are different dynamics. The mere fact of being a woman does not bring votes. You must be a woman with capacity. You know, Professor Nana Jane is a woman of capacity. I like to think that as a woman of capacity, even though I've been through the school of hard knocks in politics, right. I'm still, you know, as my Angelo said, I rise, you know. But we get to an age where we have to empower the next generation. And there are so many fantastic women in NDC that it takes my breath away, really. Talking to them, interacting with them, they inspire me. You know, they give me courage that we are doing the right thing and that we are in safe hands with them.
Lawyers don't talk a lot of economics, but what is your state of economy of this country?
Wow. I think we are tumbling. If we haven't tumbled already. I don't talk a lot of economics, but I know things are very bad. When my son sends me snapshots and says that abomination, the price of petrol has gone crack the 8. My daughter says, sell every CD you have and get dollars, you know. Then I know that we have a problem in the country. But to be serious, I feel it every day in everything we do. And I'm bitterly disappointed because I never thought that we would get to this stage. All the assurances we were given by this government from 2016 to date have not taken place. We have a fundamental error with our economic management. And as you know, when the fundamentals are wrong, we have a problem. So I would like to take this opportunity to call upon the government to be bold and do the right thing by us. We, the women, the children, the girl children of Ghana, we are in it. We have a major stake to play. And this is not about politics now,
right,
but it's about a looming economic disaster. Today, I think Fitch, the rating agency, had a prescription for Ghana that go to the IMF in order to go and sort your economy out. They are looking at, maybe, possibly, this government is looking at it with a politically jaundiced eye, having said that they cannot and will not go to the IMF. That is not their issue. I think if don't even listen to us as a credible opposition. Listen to what the international agencies, the international bankers are telling you, and do the right thing by us Ghanaians. Fix it. Fix this economy. We will not take responsibility for it when we come into power in 2024.
Madam, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on One on One.
It's a pleasure.
She is a former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Madam Betty Mould Iddrisu. She was my guest, and thank you so much also for watching. Thanks so much. Bye.